I discovered that my mother was cheating on my father with his best friend. And the worst part? They tried to blackmail me into staying silent. But I had my evidence ready from the start, and I recorded everything. In the end, I showed my father the proof, which turned everything upside down. My mother was always a very attractive woman, the pillar of the house, the one who kept everything in order. My father, on the other hand, was a hard-working man, dedicated to his family and his company. He always trusted his best friend, Ricardo, who was like an uncle to me. But everything changed one day, a day I will never forget. That day, I got home early after my last class was cancelled. The house was unusually quiet, which I found strange because there was always some noise, either the TV on or my mother doing something. But at that moment, there was only silence. I climbed the stairs, and as I passed in front of my parents' bedroom door, I heard Ricardo's voice. At first, I thought they were just talking, but something in the tone of their voices made me stop. I got closer and then heard them laughing, talking in whispers. Something wasn't right. My heart started beating hard. I moved closer to the door, which was slightly ajar, and what I saw left me in shock. There, in my parents' bed, were my mother and Ricardo in a situation that left no room for doubt. I felt as if the world was collapsing around me. The betrayal emanating from that scene filled me with anger and confusion. I quietly stepped back, my mind trying to process what I had just seen. I couldn't keep quiet, but I knew that if I barged in, my mother and Ricardo would deny everything. So, I decided to wait, to pretend I didn't know anything. But my mind was already planning what to do next. That night at dinner, my mother behaved as if nothing had happened. She looked at me with the same authoritative gaze she had always had, but now all I could see was the lie behind her eyes. When Ricardo showed up at the house a few days later for dinner with the family, I had to bite my tongue to keep from shouting what I knew. However, one day, I couldn't take it anymore, and I confronted my mother in private. I told her I knew what she had been doing with Ricardo and that I was willing to tell Dad. But instead of denying or apologizing, her reaction was much colder and more calculated than I expected. "You don't know what you're getting into," she told me, looking at me with a coldness I had never seen in her before. "If you say something to your father, I'll make sure you regret it. I'll send you to live with relatives in the country, and you'll be left with nothing. And don't you dare think he'll believe you. Ricardo is his best friend. Who do you think he's going to listen to?" I was shocked for a few seconds. My mother, the woman I had trusted all my life, was threatening and manipulating me to keep quiet. But I knew I couldn't stay silent. The anger inside me grew even more, but I had to suppress it. I pretended to give in. "Okay," I told her, bowing my head to hide my fury. "I won't say anything." But inside, I already had a plan. I knew I couldn't trust her words. So, the next time I heard them in the room together, I made sure I was prepared. I turned on my phone, and without making a sound, I recorded everything. The voices, the laughter, and then the silence. I kept it recording like a treasure. The next day, I decided it was time. I asked my dad to meet me at a coffee shop after work. I told him I needed to talk to him alone, something I didn't do often, so he took me seriously. We sat down, and with trembling hands, I pulled out my phone. Without saying anything, I showed him the recording. His expression changed as he listened. Disbelief turned into pain, and then a barely contained fury. When the recording ended, he said nothing. For a few moments, he just looked at me with tears in his eyes. Then, he stood up from the table. "Let's go home," he said. That was all. And without waiting, I followed him, bracing for what would come next. Now comment update to tag you in part 2.